Hello, my good sirs and ladybirds. Welcome to my fledgling YouTube channel where I am documenting my journey of self-discovery. My name is Danny. I am 34 years old, and as of right now, I have 2 full years of sobriety. I have spent all of my adult life and some of my teenage years under the influence of one substance or another. And because of that, I do not really know who I am as a person or what I'm truly capable of. And right now, I am lucky enough to be in the position where I can take the time to kind of make over my life. And to kick off this journey, I've set 3 main objectives. The first one is turning my house into more of a home. The second one is going to the gym, training my body, making sure I'm in the best health possible. And the third one is documenting my journey for YouTube. So the last video, I showed you guys what I'm starting my journey with. And this video, I thought I would show you guys why turning my house into a home is so important to me as a person. My life, I've spent so much time moving around, getting kicked out, and at times living out of my car. Having a home is like fundamental to me. And to help explain that, let's take a journey to the place that I lived at last before I moved in with my boyfriend. So we're going to get into my car and we're going to drive to a trailer park in Northeast Maryland. So I didn't end up going to Northeast yesterday. We're on our way there now from Wilmington, Delaware, where I live. But yesterday, I just kind of wimped out. It's really intimidating for me to go back to where I used to live. And I didn't even live in Northeast for that long. I was living in hotels for like over a month. Like flea bag hotels. One of them actually had bed bugs. And one of the girls that I was working at the strip club with heard that I was looking for a place of my own, and she's like, I live at this trailer park, they've got trailers to rent, and that's how I ended up there. And I was thinking to myself when I moved, yes, I finally got a place of my own, things are gonna get better from here. And where I moved, there was on either side of me and on the cul-de-sac I was on, like, they were all using intravenously. And at that time, the last thing in the world I needed was to be around other addicts, because it brought out the absolute worst in me. So going back there, as an addict, I have to be really careful of the situations that I put myself in, because they can be triggering. And I've been clean for a long time, but there's always that danger with addicts of them relapsing. And I feel confident I don't want to use, but just revisiting this ground makes me nervous. And like I said, it's just not ground I want to revisit. But at the same time, I want to show you guys where I've come from. And it'll be good for me to see too how far I've come in such a short time. Like the life I have now, I always wanted for myself, but I could never envision having. You know, I've lived in the same place now for over 3 years, and you know, I haven't lived in the same place that long since I left where I grew up when I was 17. I've been moving around. Like, I used to move around a couple times a year. So, just, let's go. Let me show you what a disaster I used to be. I still am a disaster. just nowhere near as bad. Alright, we're here. Listen, this trailer, when I lived here, it had none of what's going on right now. I kept it very clean. Jesus Christ. Alright, let me get out of the car. It looks like people are living there now, but it wasn't like this. Like, the outside of this, I kept it really clean. None of this whole disaster was there. But that's where I used to have my little Ford pickup. And then in this trailer right here, there was the twins. They were users, and they would get me stuff. Jesus Christ. There used to be a trailer right here that was like burned down and stuff. I guess they finally removed it. I feel like a little sick to my stomach being back here. So on either side of me, when I lived here, there was these two twin boys. They weren't boys. They were like probably in their late 30s. They were heavy duty into it, and I would go through them to get stuff. And then on the other side of me, there was a woman, and she used, and me and her would do stuff together, like use together. So makes me sad. Makes me sad that this was my life. But it's not anymore, so I guess I don't really have to be that sad. But I mean, I've been through a lot, and being here just brings it all back. This was not a pleasant place for me. But geez, they wrecked this trailer. When I lived here, it was pretty clean. Like, the outside of it was clean, the inside of it was clean. I mean, I didn't have any furniture. I mean, I didn't have any money to buy any furniture. All my money that I made at the club and at the Galloping Horses went right to substances. So I couldn't afford anything. But you know, I do have good memories here of, this is where I met my boyfriend. And I was still using at the time. This is where I kind of started getting clean here. You know, after I got with him, I still was relapsing every now and then. And I was drinking heavily at the time. When he used to come see me, he would bring me like a big old thing of Fireball. And that would be gone in a couple days, like 2 or 3 days, be gone. But I guess you can say this was the beginning of my new life here. This is where I met my boyfriend when I was living here. I didn't meet him here for sure. And when I was living here, this was kind of where I left everything behind. When I left here, I left behind all of my stripping gear, all of my shoes, all my outfits, and I've never gone back to the strip club since leaving here. So I guess this was like the last phase of me before I kind of transformed into my better self. And I'm still doing that. I still got ways to go, but at least I have hope of achieving my goals now, because I never would have been able to do them before. My focus 24/7 at that point in my life, because it had gotten so bad for me, was making sure I wasn't sick, making sure I wasn't withdrawing, making sure I had enough money to pay for what I needed to be well, making sure I had enough money to eat, which wasn't really a priority, and making sure I had a roof over my head. But just being here, like, this was a place that I tried to make a home. It didn't work. It would have never have worked with the way that I was at that time. But I've always wanted my own home that I've made for myself, that I can be proud of, that I can be comfortable in. That is my home base, my security, my nest, where I'm safe, where I'm stable. And I have that now. I just need to feather my nest. And that's why it's so important to me. That's why it's one of my main goals. So that was a brief but depressing trip down memory lane. Hopefully it gave you guys some perspective on who I am and what motivates me. So moving forward, I realize, having goals is great, but I need to have a realistic plan of attack on how I'm going to accomplish those goals. I can't just have them. I need to have a pathway to them. So I've kind of rejigged everything mentally on how I'm going to go about doing that. So for this room, don't laugh at me. I'm not an artist. I'm not a lot of things, but I'm definitely not an artist. So I drew a blueprint of the room and how I want it to look. And I don't have like total freedom to really like convert this into an office. I have to like design around the elliptical, which is right here. So that kind of restricts what I can do. But I have a plan now. And then right at the bottom, ignore my chicken scratch handwriting, I actually have goals, step by step, on how I can get to a finished product. So the next step in this whole process is to finish like purging everything, clearing everything out. There's not a lot. I'm actually really proud of the progress that I've made here, but I do have this pile of stuff over here, and I just have to get through that, clean up the bottom of the closet and the top of the closet, and just this stuff over by the TV. So that is what's next on my to-do list. And I'm excited. I'm excited to have like a plan of things to do. And honestly, I feel really freaking motivated. Going back to Northeast and driving around there, after I finished recording the little bits that I showed you guys, the lady that lived next door to me that I talked about briefly that I used a lot with, she wasn't there anymore. So I talked to her ex-boyfriend that she used to live with, and I kind of went on a hunt to find her, just check on her, make sure she's okay. And she's I didn't find her. She was off somewhere doing her thing, but I did drive around Northeast, and it really, really reinforced how lucky I am not to have that as my life anymore, and how sad it was that it was my life at one time. And I didn't even, when I was in it, I didn't realize it. When I was in that life, I did not realize what an empty and depressing and meaningless life it was. And it just, going back there, I'm really glad. I'm really glad I went back there. I'm really glad that I showed you guys that, because it gave me perspective and motivation. It lit a fire under me to really just kind of get on with it. You know, I've done so much. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it, but being clean for 2 years was an impossibility for me. And I have it. I have that under my belt. And I just need to go on from here. And the opportunities are endless for me. I just have to reach out and grab them. And that's what I'm excited to do. Not having that as my life anymore, having the opportunities that I do, and being able to chronicle it on here for me and for you guys. It's an opportunity that I'm excited about. So that's it, guys. That is the end of this video. You made it with me. We took a look back, and now we have plans for the future. So honestly, if you have anything that you think would help me, please leave it in the comments below. I'm really interested what you guys have to say. And like my videos, subscribe. There's more coming for sure. And thank you for watching. Have a good day.